Come on, come on. How about now? How about now? Oh, please tell me. How about now? Is it? Yes? Yes? Yay! Oh, my goodness, what a morning it's been. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it's great to have you here. And I apologize for the technical difficulties. I've been learning OBS software, and I created this whole new screen and everything for the Facebook Live that I just did about teachers and COVID in the schools and all that. And I didn't realize, but it completely deleted my setup that I had for classes. So I had to do it within 15 minutes and stumble along, and I forgot to add my audio. So, but thanks for being here. Now, this creative doodling, I've got a couple of different examples, and good, working perfect now. Excellent, excellent. So these are some examples. These are with the pointy. This is with the curve line. It's so super simple and lots of fun. This is just going to be a short little introduction to it right here today, since you missed it the last time. And today, since yesterday I did the pointy kind, today I'm going to do the curved ones for you. And it's super simple. You know, Corbin, I would talk about a fat Sharpie and a skinny Sharpie when you were in my art class. So that's going to distract me. There we go. So it's helpful if you have, I'm getting my square paper. If you have two sizes of nibs, that's the little point, the felt tip point on the tip. This is the nib, that little thing right there. That's a big broad nib, but it's actually called a fine point. And then you remember the ones that I call the skinny Sharpies. This is actually called an ultra fine, and you can see that the nib is much smaller on that. There's also something called Micron Pens. Really, it's any kind of felt tip pen, but if you have more than one size tip, you can get more variety in your creative doodling, and it creates more interest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with one that's about the size of an ultra fine Sharpie. You can, this one right here, this was actually done, this is a regular fine point Sharpie, the fat Sharpie, these lines are. And then when I went inside with my designs, I used this smaller one. So what I'm going to do on this one, you can use either one you want. I personally am going to use, this is a Prismacolor, or Prismacolor, they're like Micron pens. Micron is actually a brand, but these are the different size nibs. And mechanical pens is what they were back in the day when I was in college a million years ago, and they were a little different than this. So what you're going to do is go from corner to corner on your page with a wavy line. And it's not too wavy, just a slightly wavy, like so. And then what we're going to do, the next step, is we're going to put some dots. Some of them can be closer together, some spread farther apart. You don't want them too close together, you want a little room in there. So you put your dots in, and then the next thing is we're going to make curved lines that are kind of close to our main corner to corner line. So I'm going to start from this corner and I'm going to do a little curve like this, like a hill curve. Simple. Don't have to get too fancy. It gets fancy when you get to your designs. And so you just curve out and in like this. I'm going to flip my paper around and do the same thing on the other side. I was telling my group yesterday that if you wanted to do like curve and then pointy and then curve and then pointy, you could do that too. You can experiment a lot of different ways with it. The great thing about creative doodling is that there's not really a right and a wrong. It's all about exploration. Two things I have discovered in my creative doodling experiments. in allowing myself to make mistakes. I find that having the different size nibs creates more interest, and I also have found that it's really important when you're doing your creative doodling, make sure that you leave some areas completely white and some areas solid black. That creates contrast, and it's much more interesting than filling in all your spaces with designs. So you want to keep that in mind. That's just a little tidbit of information that I have found in my own exploration along the way. So you've got the curved lines on both sides. So now we're going to do it again. We're going to bump out a little bit more, a little bit higher. And you want to keep in mind that every time you create a space, inside these spaces, these are where your designs are going to go. You're going to leave some of them white, but this is where you're going to be putting your designs. Flip my paper around, do the same thing over here. And notice I'm not doing them all the same size. And that's on purpose. I think it's more interesting if they're not all perfectly symmetrical. Okay, so now I'm going to do a few more, but I'm not going to do them on every single bubble. I'm just going to pick a few and make them really large. So I'm going to have this one come up here, and this one will be long and tall, and this one will be nice and fat. And I'll have one come over here like this, and you definitely want, every time you do it, you're going from dot to dot, those original dots. I'll grab this side, make a nice big fat one, and one over here. Here we go. Yeah. And maybe I'm going to do one more. I'm going to come up over here like this. Okay. So now it's time to start adding your designs. I'm going to bump down to a little bit smaller nib. Not too small. I'm going to use an 03. Maybe an 01. All right. So this is all it is, lines and shape. So if you think about your different lines, you know, you got straight lines and curved lines, zigzag, dotted, looped, swirled, so many different kinds of line, but you also want to consider the direction. So I can have a vertical zigzag, I can have a diagonal zigzag, and I can have a horizontal zigzag. I can have a vertical curve line, I can have a diagonal curve line, and I can have a horizontal curve line. So think about the kind of line or the type of line plus the direction, because you might think that you've run out of lines and shapes, but you really haven't. You can just change them up a bit using the same line or shape. So I'm going to come in here, and with my pen I'm just going to make some horizontal lines coming across. And I'm going to go and do that same thing, but I'm going to have the lines more diagonal, I think. So I'm going to go into a smaller area that looks a little different. And I think what I'll do is put them a little bit closer together. So it's still a straight line, but it's much more on the diagonal. And if I scoot them a little closer together, then it almost looks like a gray value rather than just lines. From farther away, the brain kind of runs them all together and reads it sort of as a gray value. So you can see from there, it looks more gray, but if you see it up close, you can actually see that those are lines. All right, so see, so much more white showing here. This is more gray. Another thing you can do are really little circles all together, like caviar, fish eggs, and fill that in. You can put shapes inside of shapes, dots inside of circles, triangles, all those kind of, oh, that almost looks like a seed pod, doesn't it? Huh, interesting. You can add zigzags, and then inside of the zigzag, some dotted lines. And you might be already just off on your own creative imagination. I might be doing this, and you've got another area that your attention is drawn to, and you're putting something different in there. Absolutely feel free to do that. In the larger areas, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to one of my larger nibs. I'm going to use an 05. And in this big fat part right here, because I got lots of space, I'm going to put these large rounded areas, and then in the middle, almost like an eye, right? And then I think in the center of that, I'm going to do a black line. It's kind of a thick black line. And then I'm going to do dots coming down the edge. And I don't have anything planned. That's the thing about creative doodling. It's it can be very calming because you're just you don't have a plan. You're just going with the flow. Whatever pops into your head, that's what you do. And it's fun. It's almost like if you've ever done this while you were on the phone with somebody, or while you were maybe you're watching TV and you're just, you don't really have a plan. You're just kind of doodling, or you know, drawing a little bit with shapes and words and whatnot. That's another thing you can do, is you can put words in there if you wanted to. Like, let's say I go in this space here, and I want to put the word, maybe I'll put my name. That's something you could do. And my letters touch from one end to the other to fill that shape, to make the letters look like they're stretched. So with this one right here, I'm going to add a little bit more and then show you about when I was saying the contrast, creating contrast. So I'm going to come up like this. I'm going to have this come here and here and here. All right. I'm going to have this do like that. All right. Now, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to use my regular fat Sharpie, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm not going to fill it all the way in. I'm just basically, because this is a bigger nib, it's a little quicker. But I'm not going to go all the way to the edge, see, because I'm going to come in there with my smaller one, just to be more careful. All right. So I'm going to black in over here and here. And I'm going to take my other one and start to fill this in. And so what I'm doing here by having an area that's completely solid black is, what it does is it actually shows off this design. It's almost like when you get a piece of artwork matted and framed, and the mat might be black or gray. And what it does, you don't want mats that are super colorful and busy with rainbow stripes on them and so forth, because then the attention is on the mat with the rainbow stripes and the colors. You want the attention on the artwork. So if I want the attention on this design right here, I don't want to put another very tedious design in the background, because then they would compete with each other. And right now, if I do solid black back here, then it's going to make that design show up even more. It accents it like a mat on a frame. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm blacking this area in. And you can also do the same thing like I did it here to create contrast and emphasis. I put red there. Now on this design, I was using red for emphasis, and I don't want red everywhere. I just want it to have these special areas of interest and emphasis. So I wouldn't add any other color here. This and that I did with marker. These are actually colored pencils. And if I hold this up close to the camera on the iPad, you can see in the turquoise area to see the darker blue. And then if you look at the red and the green, you can see the layers of color and the textures. So I was using color blending. You probably remember me talking about that, you know, when we would use the Prisma sticks, the colored pencil sticks made by Prisma, same company that made this pen. And I'm getting out of my line. I had these nice clean lines. All right. So you can see now how that blacked in area creates interest and contrast, and it really makes that show up. It shows it off very nicely. So that is my quick little creative doodle instruction for today. And let me show you these once again so you can see. All right, so this was one from yesterday's group where I showed the same thing, right? And with this is just, we did the same thing, but we did angles like triangles coming out. So we had our curvy line, we did our dots, and then instead of doing a hump like a hill, we did a point, an angle like a triangle. I would love to see an experiment if you're willing to do it, and then send it to me, and I'll post it, you know, on my Miss Julie's Facebook page if you like. But the alternating, I don't have another piece of paper, but let's say if you did, here we go. I'll do it with my pencil. Let's say you have a curved line, and you put your dots, right? And I want, whatever designs you do, I would love to see them. Get your mom to send them to me. But let's say you do a curved line, right? Start out low. That's the key. Start out small and low and close to the main line. And then you go like that, right? I haven't done one like this yet, right? And then let's say what could you do next? Maybe you go curve again. So maybe you're alternating like that. And then within each one of these shapes, right, you start to put your designs. I would love to see, you know, what you do with that. But I think it's important. I didn't on these because I was keeping the instruction very limited in time, because I can be long-winded. So I didn't finish these. And it does take some time. I think that's why it helps us focus, because you're like in this zone. It's very cool. But what I think works best, and you tell me what works for you, is to do all the black and white areas first before getting to the color. I went ahead and added the color in these so that I would have some examples to show online. And I do think it works better, especially if you're in the beginning stages of experimenting with this, to do all of your designs and your black and white areas first. That's what I've found personally, because then I can look at it and sit with it, especially if I do a little bit on one day and come back the next day. It looks different to me. And I can say, you know what? I've got a lot of solid black in this area. I think I need to balance it out and find an area over here to put that. Or like if I've got red, I got this red over here. Does it need to have red over here? Or is it working with just that one area of emphasis? What, you know, and so step back from it and give yourself some distance. And that will help you determine what you think about that. Let me see if I can do this with I'm learning how to move all my gadgets. Oh, here we go. Yes, it's working. Good. I saw all of that. And another thing that I've been hearing from a lot of people who have been streaming is that they like to check their chat on their cell phone. That's because apparently this is in real time, and there's a delay on the laptop. I know there's a delay on the laptop. Feel like I've got so many things going on, and because I'm new to this, that I forget to check the chat. And when I'm looking at my screen, I can't necessarily see the YouTube chat because it's covered by this other. But thank you so much, both of you, for tuning in today. And like I said, send it via text, from your mom, or this actually the chat. Creative Doodling. I think you can send. Can you send stuff on here? I think you can. I think you can send images. I don't know that you can do video. Oh wait, it does have a video icon. So see if you can do that. Once you finish, take a screenshot of it and send it via this app, this Creative Doodling group app. I mean this Stars app. Send it to my group, and I'll see if I can see it there. But thank you so much, and I'll keep you posted. And hopefully you can join in on the next one as well. Oh, let me let you know though. I don't know if you know this. Oh, video chat. Cool. All right. Okay, what is this? Is this you guys? Oh! There is quite a delay because I'm hearing yours. Yeah. Yeah, let me go ahead and sign out of here, and then I'll see that. That's awesome. I love it. Technology, man. It's awesome.